Happy to have you back on the platform. That's too funny. Now, obviously, if you're familiar with Art of the Dialogue, you know what the deal is. By the way, my name is Versatile, aka the Ak. If you're not trusted name, you could trust when it comes to all things reactions. And wait. So, yeah, as I was saying, um, yeah, happy to have you back on the platform. You know what I'm saying? All right, look, all jokes aside though, yeah. Let's just get straight into this. Yeah, you see the title, you know what time it is. Gene Deal wasn't in the documentary for the Art of Dialogue. Sorry, for the Sean Combs The Reckoning, right? So why? Like, what's the real reason why? All right, so let's just get straight into this. Shout out to the Art of the Dialogue and shout out to Gene Deal. Get me? Yeah, man. Let's go.
Conversation whereas that, you know.
Hold on. We don't start off from 58 minutes. We start off from the very, very beginning. All right. All right. So let's go. And if Suge Knight responds to the documentary as well, we gonna react to that as well because we are waiting for his response as well. Because let's be real, do you know what I mean? P Diddy was also his nemesis too, so it'll be interesting to see that.
Gene Deal, welcome back, my guy. Been a while, man.
It has been,
Been a
but I'm
while. The last time he was on this platform was what? During it was still this year in 2025. It was during or just about after the like Diddy's trial, basically. Do you understand? But let's keep it moving. Let's go.
here, and I figured that after this 50 documentary, you'll be giving me a call. Told you I ain't turning down nothing but my
You see?
collar
You
when it
see?
comes to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I mean, I had to bring you back. This documentary got everyone talking, man. A lot of people want to know why you wasn't in it, man.
Yeah. Why wasn't you
Well,
in it?
first and foremost, I thought I was going to be in the documentary at first until I started talking to that director. I think her name is
Okay. Yeah.
Stapleton.
Alex.
I don't know her
Yeah.
name.
Alexandria
Right?
Stapleton.
I don't know, man. Me and 50 talked like 45 minutes. The producers had been calling me and everything. So this one night, 50 called me up and, they got him on the phone, man. He was just talking. We was talking about old time shit, sit down with Black Hands, sit down with, with Puff Kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he's going to be doing. You know what I'm saying? So I told him that I was going to, have Kirk and Tim. Kirk would be the one who talk about the business part of it.
Okay.
Tim would be the one who talk about the growing up phase with Diddy and everything and over
Okay.
there working in the record industry with him and stuff like that. They was like family. And I was gonna talk about, the street stuff, what was going on with Bad Boy, with the security, with Wolf, with the city college, with the time that I knew about when I was with him up until about early 2004 or something like that. But basically the streets and then the traveling with him and the
First.
atmosphere and everything, and then go back into the Notorious Big stuff with the Tupac and the whole 9 years, all the stuff that I knew.
Okay.
You know what I'm
First.
saying?
First.
So
First.
we was talking and he sounded like, yo, listen here, they gonna spare no expense with this whole documentary. So I said, all right, cool.
Quick. All right. Quick question. When someone says we're going to spare no expense, what does that mean to you? And leave your answer in the comment section below. Also, bear in mind, yeah, um, he did say that he was meant to be in it, and he talked to 50 Cent, right? And we now know that 50 Cent doesn't have creative control. Yes, he's one of the executive producers, but he's not the only executive producer. In fact, even Alexandria Stapleton, she's not the only executive producer, but she's the only director as far as I'm concerned. But hey, look, the way that if you look at other media outlets, it's Alexandra Stapleton and 50 Cent that are doing the media rounds. Do you get it? So, but even just to see that she was on Stephen A. Smith's platform as well. Do you know, like, and 50 Cent was in there. So that alone, again, that reinforces to me personally that she's the one that, do you know what I mean, is the lead in this whole situation. And bear in mind, she's Emmy Award winning as well prior to this. So do you know what I mean? So this might get her another Emmy. This might get 50 Cent another Emmy. Like, yeah, 50 Cent's got an Emmy Award. If you know, you know. But let's keep it moving. Let's go.
So what I did was I spoke to Tim and I spoke to Kirk Burrows. And I was like, yo, because I had Tim number. Tim didn't know how to get in touch with Kirk. Kirk didn't know how to get in touch with Tim. But Kirk was trying to tell me, give him the number with the Tim. I said, nah, I ain't doing that. So I gave one of the producers the number in the whole 9 yards to get in touch with Tim because I want to see him get money because I know Tim got a hell of a story with Puff.
All right. So I'm gonna hit the pause button right there. He wants to see Tim get money. So I'm not. I look. When it comes to documentaries, we have to really research this properly and understand how documentaries are actually done. Yeah, like, are they done in a way where you're supposed to have like the people talking in the documentary, the people that they're asking the questions, are they supposed to be receiving money for it? Obviously, the documentary is going to essentially make money. Yeah, how it makes money, we'll get into that another day for another topic. But I think for integrity, I also think for authenticity, and for something of this magnitude, and when it is talking about events and legal stuff and stuff like that, especially when there's some alleged crimes got taken place that have taken place, should I say? No one should be getting paid. I mean, like, no one that is booked to speak in the documentary should be, like, no one should be basically, yeah, no one should be getting paid. Now, if it's on platform that are the dialogue, fair, people can get paid for that, is what it is. Yeah, but let's keep it moving. Let's go.
So then I talked to Tim and I told him, yo, listen here, man, we should go in as a package deal. All three of us, we could tell a hell of a story about this whole documentary. You know what I'm saying? From front to start. Then whatever stuff that they get and everything like that. So let's go in there and ask them for 50 a piece. You know what I'm
50
saying?
a piece.
So
time out. 50 a piece. $50 a piece? Or are you asking for 50 grand a piece? And that's 3 people. Gene Dill, Kirk Burrows, and Tim. Which is Tim Dog Patterson. Yeah? Which Kirk Burrows was in it. And Tim Dog Patterson was in it. Now, hear me out. You do the maths. 50 times 3 is what? Furthermore, that's 150 grand. Like, I know Fifth said we're going to spend no expenses, but did you think he had the budget for that? And then you got to bear in mind, there's other people that's going to be in the documentary, right? There's going to be other people. So why on earth would you put yourself in a position where you would now say, this is how, like, don't you think that other people need to talk? I get package deal. So let me know in the comments below, if you make documentaries, do you go about getting people to do a package deal? Oh wow. So I just watching something and I just realized who is, yeah, I won't get into it. Sports and all that stuff there will be a separate content. You know what I mean? So stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on your post notification. Get me? Because I saw some clapping going on. And I'm like, wait, someone's coming up, but they play for Everton and they're Chelsea fans are clapping, but I know why. Whoa, I've done this wrong. Anyway, forget all that. Forget I said that. Let's just stay focused on this situation here. All right. So 50 grand a piece is a lot of money, regardless if it is any documentary or even if it's like on platforms like the Art of the Dialogue platform, that's still a lot of money. That's still a lot of money. I don't care what nobody says. Even if you're a billionaire, that's still a lot of money because you still got a budget for other things. Other people, like I said, are going to be speaking in the documentary, especially people like we saw AuberyODay there. Yeah, we saw who else did we see? We see obviously Little Rod was speaking. We see other people talking. Brooklyn Babs. Who else was there? A few members of Day 26, or maybe was it all of them? I can't remember. You had Kalina talking. So when you put everything into perspective, yeah, you have to understand every artist or every person that's a victim, they have to come forward and speak. So paying for someone like Gene Dill, even Roger Bonds was in it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. You ask, it's just mad to me sometimes. Like when people, to me, that's greed. I don't care. That's greed. That's greed. That's pure greed.
Tim was like with it, yo, Gene, whatever, go ahead like that. Kirk was like, yeah, okay, cool, Gene. It was like a general census that we was gonna do this in a whole package deal. You know what I'm saying? And then I started speaking to the producers and everything like that, because 50 had told me himself that they was going to spare no cost in doing this
There you
because he
go.
wanted to tell the story, and he wanted to tell the story like it was supposed to be told and everything like that. I said, yeah, okay. So then the director, I got to get her name, man,
Yes,
because it don't even
Alexandra
sound, I
Stapleton.
want to put her on blast because she was telling me, you know, she was saying to me that, what I was asking for was crazy, and they wasn't spending money like that. I'm talking about, you got footage, you got clothing, you got. I was doing footage. I had pictures, all the stuff that I had. You could figure out a way to pay a brother and stuff like that. And then I was telling her about some prices that I've already received, and I had the invoices to show it. And then she was calling me like I was lying. I was like, yo, who do you think you talking to? You know what I'm saying? And she was talking about, there's no way nobody paid. Nobody what? I say, first of all you people come with these documentaries and stuff. The first thing you tell me, y'all tell these people out here that y'all don't pay, and y'all pay. If you can make a picture look like $10,000, $15,000, you know what I'm saying? You can sit here and tell me that you're gonna pay me for my time sitting right there.
See, to me, that's greed. I don't like. I understand what you're saying. Pay for your time because money is obviously you got bills to pay, right? Makes sense. And I understand if he's saying with documentaries, if you're called, you need to tell people whether you're going to pay them or not. But essentially, this is where if you make documentaries or do you know what I mean? Let me know in the comments below. Do you pay people that are speaking? Like, do you understand? Like, because I know there was a time in college, if I remember, if memory serves me correctly, right? If memory actually does serve me correctly, I remember even though it was a college project, that there was like a doc. I think we did more or less like a documentary style type of thing, and if that person never got paid, however, due to that connection, do you understand? If I was to do music now, I can holler at that person because I'm still slightly in contact with them. And obviously, I don't call them every day or message them every day, but there's still some sort of connection. And it's like, raw, I can holler at them. You see what I'm gonna say? Not to say favor for a favor because she did us a favor or anything like that. But it's the thing of you have to understand. Sometimes when you do these things, it's not necessarily about it's not necessarily about um, money. Building connections is important because you never know how they can help you in the future. Do you understand? But with things like this, no one should be getting paid. I do not care what. When I say nobody, nobody but the victim. I don't want to say no. It's hard to explain. Personally, I don't think anyone should get paid. But let's go.
down here with y'all. You understand? So then, one thing led to another, and I was like, yeah, all right, well then, F you. I spoke to 50, and then she said 50, and this is exact words that came out her mouth. 50 does not determine what goes in and go out of this documentary.
Exactly, it doesn't.
And he definitely don't pay. He determine what somebody get paid. It's
Exactly.
not his documentary like that. I was like, oh, so if it's not his documentary and I spoke to him like that, I don't need to be doing nothing with you because I'm doing this on the strength of him. But you gonna pay me if I do it.
Okay, this is where he was in the wrong. Yeah. This is where he is in the wrong. First of all, look how you're speaking to a woman. You understand? Just because you're not getting your way, and like she was right. Because when you know what's mad, yeah, there was a what do you call that? I forgot what it's called, but basically, to cut a long story short, like there was, you see, when the documentary came out, there was this saying, and I don't know whose team it probably came from Diddy, but they probably assumed that people got paid. But do you see if they did get paid, that would damage the documentary even further because they're like, okay, now it's an agenda thing, right? But is it? But let's focus on this then. You see, with artists, yeah, sorry, you see, with when Diddy came out his team or PR team did that thing. Netflix response was nobody got paid for this documentary. And do you know what? If there's a lawsuit that's allegedly going to happen, that will now have to be proven in the court of law. If it gets to the courts where there's a trial, it has to be proven. So I'm not saying that Gene Deal shouldn't have got paid or whatever, but his response, like, I get it. Yes, you wanna get paid. You got bills to pay. You want people to pay you for your time. I understand it, because but you have to, and please, people understand this. I respect Gene Deal. Yeah, he's often told the truth on certain things, right? Even though most things is a hearsay type of thing, but he's often so. Yeah, I'm into, like, he could have just he could have just been like, all right, if 50 did say this, let me just put 50 on the freeway corner and say, listen, can you clarify this whole situation, please? Let's sort this out. That's what he should have done, in my humble opinion. In my humble opinion, that's what he should have done. Let's go.
So it went back and forth, what I'm saying, for a little bit, and then they had Kirk Burrows giving me calls and everything like that. What are you calling me for? You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Get out of here. I know what kind of dude you is anyway. Me and you cool and everything, Kirk, but don't call me about no business with this stuff like that. And then what I found out is that he was making a deal, cutting a deal for himself as well as Tim. You understand? And I was trying to get a deal for all three of us. You understand? So that's how them industry cats go. That's what they do.
But
You know
no
what I'm
one
saying?
got paid
So I'm looking
for
at it like
being
this.
in
So
the
then he called
documentary.
me back again, and I told him, like, listen, man, don't you ever call my phone again, Kirk? You know what I'm saying? Because we had got into it about somebody calling him. He told me Groovy Lou called him and wanted to know why Gene's still doing this to Puff and everything like that. And I mentioned it on the Gene Deal show. You understand? I said something. Then he called me back like I was lying. And listen to me, Kirk. Don't call me about what these clowns and these niggas say right here, bro. I had nothing, and especially don't call me talking about what I gotta fix. When in fact, you know what you told me and you know what our conversation was. You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing about why I'm not in the thing, the lady was talking greasy to me. She had no right to talk greasy to me. And
Reasoning.
then she told me that 50 didn't have the power to do anything, but they using his name to like push the whole documentary. And that's what it was about. So that's why you don't see a cameo other than the pictures they used of me on the film in the documentary. I got like 3 or 4 pictures in the documentary that I've seen of myself. You know, some people say they saw more, but I know three different times where I was certain places
And we
where you
heard
can
his voice
actually
in
see me in the
the
documentary, and that's the only thing you're gonna get.
as well.
But the stories that they told in the documentary, bruh, come on. They could have went a whole lot deeper. They could have did a whole lot more.
I agree.
So I ain't in the documentary because that lady
That's why I
that
thought there's
was
gonna be a
the
part two.
director, I think, what's her name? Alex,
Yeah,
you know,
Alexandria
Alex
Stapleton.
Stapleton. You know her name, Mighty? Yo, Mighty, just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna look this up, all right? Okay. Her name is Alex Stapleton.
Yeah.
The director that I spoke to was Alex Stapleton. She was the one who told me that she was the director, she was the
Which she was.
producer,
Yes, which she
whatever,
was.
this, that, and the third, the whole 9 yards. And she was talking mad greasy to me. And listen here, it's no after you talk that kind of talk to me, there's no amount of money she could have paid me anyway for me to get in there. You know, my story is more to getting into depth or getting in depth with this whole stuff, and it would have helped that documentary a whole lot. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
In actuality, they used all the stuff that I told them and did it the way that I was saying do it. Tim Dog started off with the childhood with Puff and the whole 9 yards. Kirk Burrows do the business part, but they was trying to put people in there like Mark Curry and other people to talk about the streets or what was going on, a certain thing. But Mark can only say so much, you know what I'm saying, because he was an artist. So he wasn't with Puff like I was with him during that time when we was running back and forth here and there and the whole 9 yards. So, Miss Alex Stapleton is the one reason why I'm not in the documentary, but it's all right with me. I've been in a lot of documentaries. I did The Shine, I did the A&E, I did the Discovery Channel, I did the Fox. I've been in a whole lot of different documentaries, and I'm always on the art of dialogue. So the
for
people
real,
get
he
most of
always
the
in the art
information
of
from here
dialogue.
anyway.
It's tracks.
Yeah, man, you always on here, man. Always got to bring you on. So with that being said, man, I want to get right into the documentary, man. How you feel about the documentary, man? The behind the scenes footage they got a Diddy leading up to him.
Nah, do you know what? Yeah. By the way, hit the subscribe button, turn on your post notifications. What I recommend you do is but seeing as he mentioned, I've almost forgot to mention the link in the pinned comments. Yeah, is the link to a book called The Psychology of Money. I recommend you go purchase that book. Yeah. Yes, I get paid a small commission here and there. Listen, man's got to get paid. You know what I'm saying? Man's got bills to pay, and I've got to make sure that this whole quality and stuff. But that side, though, yeah, the reason why I'm saying that is because you will understand the emotions and everything in regards to money and how to handle situations like this. Because I know he's saying Alexandria Stapleton is that she talked greasy to him. No, how we explained it, yeah. Let's be honest, yeah. Let's be honest. How we explained it, did she really talk greasy to him? Leave your answer in the comment section below. From the way she talked, and maybe it's how he's explaining, and he's not going into too much detail, so he's trying to be a bit more respectful, which I can understand. But the reality of life is you have to understand how to talk to people. Do you understand? You have to understand. I'm not saying he doesn't know how to, but when it comes to money, yeah, and you want money from someone else, obviously they want they're gonna need you. Do you know what I'm saying? They're gonna need you, but it's like okay, they want to use you, but you are saying, "All right, pay me for my time." You gotta find you gotta know how to speak. This is why I believe in this case Gene Doe would need an agent or someone to speak on his behalf in these type of situations. Now he said he's been in other documentaries, right? So if he's been in other documentaries, which he has, is he saying that they've paid him? So now that makes me look at the documentaries. Are those documentaries credible? That's what I look at. I'm like, are these credible? And that it's making me realize I've got to do a dive deep in how do documentaries work. Yeah. But again, go to the link in the pinned comments. Go purchase your book of the psychology of money, and you will understand how to make situations work in your favor, whether you get paid or not. And even if you were not to get paid, you will be completely fine about the situation, regardless of whatever the situation may be. Yeah. But let's go.
Him getting arrested and how you feel about all that, man?
Well, what I feel about the documentary, they left a whole lot of key things out. If they was going
Okay, yeah, that's the other thing I'm going to mention. They did leave a lot out, and I think they did that on purpose. Do you know why? Look, let me tell you why I feel like they did it on purpose. I feel like they did it on purpose, yeah, because there's potentially season 2. They didn't go into details in regards to uh Kim Porter. They didn't go into details in regards to Misha Hilton and that whole situation. They didn't like because there could be a whole separate episode on how that when it comes to Diddy and women, they could have did it a separate way where they did a thing where okay, this is how Diddy deals with women, but this is how he deals with business. This is how do you know what I mean? They could have did it. There's so many like layers they could have went into. They could have even talked about the links to the unfortunate situations where some people are paid. Do you know what I mean? Where now when you think about it, it's like raw, this makes no sense. Like, why have they left this out? Because there's potentially a part 2. Listen, I feel like Sean Combs the Reckoning, episode 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's an appetizer. That is an appetizer, and I could be completely wrong. Let me like this though. Let's go. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the post notification. Let's go. Let's go. Let's
to do
go.
something and they're going to say in the reckoning of Sean Combs, the reckoning, or Diddy, the reckoning and stuff like that, it should have been a lot of people that we lost because of him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't only Big. It wasn't only Tupac. You understand? For the atmosphere that he put those kids in, you got a guy named Anthony Wolf Jones, who was from Bad Boy from its conception is doing security
Facts.
and being one of the financiers of Puff having to have some money to keep Big and Craig Mack around before he got to Clyde Davis. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't able to tell that story because they didn't have no intel on that story or what went down, or they didn't do their investigations right, which
I
he
think they did the
also led up
investigations
to
right.
the reason why Wolf ain't here today. You understand? They didn't tell that story. They didn't tell a story about Jessica Rosenbaum, who was at the City College situation. You understand?
Listen, don't
When
be surprised in
it
part
was
2
Puff,
if there's a
Heavy D,
Suge Knight
and
in there.
Jessica.
Don't be surprised.
You know what I'm saying? Jessica was the reason why those kids lost their life because she locked the
Damn.
door on those kids running down the steps.
Hey, where's Jessica?
You understand? You
No,
can see her name in a news article, but they didn't mention nothing about her taking place. But they try to put Heavy D, God bless the dead, out there, and they put Puff out there. You know what I'm saying? She should have been the main one because she is the one who locked the door on the kids. You understand? She is the one who locked the door on the kids, and all those kids lost their life. Had she not locked those doors, not one kid would have lost their life. Not one kid would have lost their life. And that's what happened. So the
That's the
feelings that
first
I
time
have
I
about
heard
the
him saying
documentary, man, it
saying
was
that.
just old
Maybe I
news.
missed.
And
Never
they
heard.
took a couple of with the footage from Puff from the days that's leading up him to get arrested, and the incidents with the people from the courts, you know, the two people from the courts. So it was nothing new. It was put together pretty good, but it was nothing new that we didn't know. It is nothing new that we didn't know, bruh. and they could have did a whole lot better. They could
I
have
disagree.
got
There's
into
a
the fact
lot
that they
of
was talking
people. I'm
about
not
they
gonna lie
wasn't
to
going to,
you. Yeah,
you know,
you see,
they
with
was going to
hip hop
spend some
culture and
money
pop
on it and
culture,
stuff
they're
like
two
that.
different
They could
things.
have got into the fact of who actually made that payment, because they put it all in the documentary. Who made that payment to
Eric Wong.
get Tupac eliminated? If that was the
Yeah,
payment that they had alluded to. So,
they did
liking the
talk about that
documentary,
though.
it's all right, bro. You know what I'm saying? But you watch it once, it don't get no second look. It don't get no second take. It ain't nothing like say, yo, I gotta go see that shit again.
No,
Nah,
you do have to see it
not at
again. I'm
all.
gonna watch it again myself.
So let me be clear on this, brother, is that I was at City College. You understand? I was there. I was doing security. My team was supposed to have the outside. Puff came to me the day before we were supposed to do the job there and told me that Heavy D didn't want us to do the security outside. I had 18 men ready to do the security outside with my dogs, like I always do. People knew how we used to roll. We would have the pits, the Rockwilders. You understand? You know, we had that outside locked up. So anybody try to bum rush, anybody do that, we had the gates, the whole 9 yards. So we could stop all that. You know how people gonna get down in Harlem. You understand? So, and then when you got LL Cool J, you got Mike Tyson coming through there, and they coming through the front door so people see them. So they gonna go crazy. LL was the hottest thing out at that time. Mike Tyson was the hottest thing out at that time. They got all kinds of stars and people in there already. They was coming through the back. They came through the front. And it caused the door to be bum rushed. But if they had the gates up, if they had the dogs, and with the help of the police, that shit would have never happened, bro. That shit would have never happened. I was there. I saw it. I saw Jessica run down the steps after she grabbed the money box because my man Eddie was protecting her. And
Okay, listen, hear me out, yeah, because there is a documentary that talks about the City College incident. I may have to react to that. Let me know in the comments below if I should. In fact, no, I probably will. But when I do, make sure your notifications are on. So when I do go live or when post is there, you're available to watch there and then. But it's so interesting how he's mentioning Jessica and all that stuff there. All right, cool. That's one thing. It's so interesting him talking about if, like, you know, when it comes down to like, you see, when it comes down to the whole, how do I explain this? Yeah, when it comes down to talking about shoulda, coulda, woulda, if this happened, this would have never happened. If this, like, I'll be honest, you can't talk like that. Or you can, but the reality is, life is what it is. What's done is done. Do you know what I mean? If you knew instinctively, we know that they will potentially bum rush if we don't put the gates up, we don't, then why didn't you just make sure that you put that in place? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm not trying to blame Gene Deal for him being a security that night. I'm not trying to do that. But what I'm trying to say is, if you're now saying this decades later, like, I'm sorry, there's do you know what I mean? It's what you're saying is meaningless. All right, if you want justice for those that, do you know what I mean? All right, cool. But the only reason why Sean Combs was out there like that is because obviously he was one of the ones that organized the event, no? So if he organized the event, then if he organized the event, surely he has to put himself out there like that and take accountability. So that's the one thing I will say. You know what? Did kind of take accountability to some degree? Because obviously, when we watch the documentary in regards to that, then we'll talk about that. But I'm saying he still put his face out there, and that's how he became famous the first time. Yeah, that's how he became famous, which is mad. Yeah. Um, but yeah, whoever Jessica is, she also is accountable. But I don't know, man. Like, even if you see in that, when you see that documentary, which there is a second look, you can actually see how Diddy isn't doing anything. He isn't doing anything. Like, he's not doing anything. And yes, I understand he was young then, and I get it. I understand, but he just wasn't doing anything. He was just walking around like like I don't know how to explain it. He just look. But let's just keep it moving, man.
Eddie's the one called me on the walkie-talkie and said, yo, Jessica just locked me in outside the gym, Gene. You couldn't go down the steps after they bum rushed the door. You understand? I had to run around the whole gym on the outside, around the gym, down the steps, run across the basketball court, and open the front door. When I opened that one door, because it pushed inside, people start squeezing through that. Then I just kept doing the doors, and people was coming in there, falling dead, right out, just falling out right there. And once they got in there, they just fell out. It was crazy, bro. It was a crazy sight. So I was there, man. So I knew more than they would put down there in that documentary. You know what I'm saying? You even see me when Puff is standing up right there. You see me down there, trying to.
You see, now we got to take a second look.
CPR somebody, and that was a 17-year-old kid that died, bro.
Damn.
That was a 17-year-old kid that died. I knew his brother. His brother was sitting there crying, talking about, my mama gonna kill me. This is the first time I ever took my little brother anywhere.
Terrible, man. Who do you put the blame on for that whole City College thing? Do you put it all on Diddy, or is it more people that played a part?
Well,
Good question.
I think Puff cutting security for the outside is a big part. Second of all, the college should have had their security there, and you didn't see none of the college security. And the college should have let the police department know that it was a function of that magnitude that was coming.
Oh no! Come on,
So
G.
it's Diddy and the college,
You can see how that
and
was
the security,
overly promoted.
and the school.
To get into this documentary, man, because I want to get your point of view, man, and I want you to break it down. It's one part in here where Eric Sermon, he told a story about how he was in the car with Misa, and Diddy caught him in the car, and Diddy swung on him. You seen that part?
Well, Eric Sermon said that Puff swung on him and invited him, and he invited Puff to go around the corner. But a lot of people, Kirk Burrows told the story, and I told him, like, because we knew that had happened back in the day, that Puff was putting his hands on Misa. You know what I'm saying? I used to bodyguard Misa, brother. You understand what I'm saying? I used to bodyguard Misa. You know, after I started working for Puff and everything like that, I started working. Misa wanted to still be out. Misa still wanted to go to places. Misa still wanted to be out and about. So she said, Gene, would you look out for me? I said, Misa, you can't afford me. She said, Gene, it's only going to be for a couple of hours when I go out and stuff like that. I know he not going to do nothing if he see me with you. You understand what I'm saying? So I said, all right, cool. All right, Misa.
Bro, that's deep.
All right. So if I come out for a couple of hours and stuff like that, every time I come out, Misa, it'll be $200, $250 for a couple of hours just for you, Misa. So it was known that Puff had a hand problem, especially when it came to women that he dated. And it was surprisingly that he swung, and like Eric Sermon said, on him. You understand? And then went to listen to some music. That shit was crazy to me. So
Yeah,
my
that's
whole
crazy.
thing about
You
it
can
was
see that was you knew you were
the
going to
Eric
get
Sermon shit, and then he
beat
went to
down.
listen to Juicy after Nick swung on him. That's some industry shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's some crazy industry shit. The whole thing about when he's talking about the Misa part being in his car and everything like that, and that was the part whereas that Puff was putting his hands on Misa, and he should have whooped his ass right then and there, you know, no matter if Misa was just in his car chilling or whatever. You know what I'm saying? She chilling with me. I'm responsible for that. I'm going to be responsible for her. Do it some other time. I don't care if it's your girl or not. If she in my car right now, You understand? And she chilling with me, and she a friend, you ain't gonna put your hands on her and beat her like Puff was doing her. Nah, not at all. And I think that, you know, he should have took responsibility for that more so than he took responsibility of hearing a Biggie tape or Biggie music. You understand?
And speaking of Misa, how you heard about the comment she made about you today?
Bruh, I saw that today. Somebody sent me that shit today, man. And my whole thing about it is, Misa, how am I harassed?
Listen, yeah. I know. Listen. Gene Deal is. What can I say? All right. Listen. Before we talk about this just for a second, let's just understand what Gene Deal literally just said. Yeah, in regards to like the car situation, you have to understand. The only reason you could say it's industry stuff, but like clearly Puffy or big yeah, clearly like Sean Combs, Diddy, Puffy, whatever he wants to call himself now, surely he did that because he knew that, like I said, he was gonna allegedly get beat down. Allegedly. Right? I'm just saying allegedly. Yeah. Now, because hindsight is 2020, you never know what could happen. Yeah. But it's clear that he only did that because remember, well, I don't recall who if Eric Sherman said it was outside of things. Well, no, well, I was watching the interview with Eric Sherman on the Breakfast Club, and he was the one that said that they were sitting outside in his car outside of Misa's house. So now you gotta understand. Now it makes even more sense, right? Now, obviously, if he said let's go around the corner, then now clearly, if someone's scared, yeah, what are they gonna do when they're scared? Think about. Let me. What would someone do when they're scared? They will try to diffuse the situation. Yeah, they will try their best to try and diffuse the situation. And obviously if they got something like I don't know a cassette tape or whatever, and they say, you know what, listen to this, because obviously they knew each other because of music. Puffy was a fan of Eric Sermon. Do you understand? So it kind of like makes sense. Eric Sermon basically remixed a lot of drinks for Bad Boy Entertainment. Now these are his words on the Breakfast Club. All right. I wish he said that in a documentary. Maybe he did, and I got to rewatch to really understand. But do you get trying to? You don't beat someone. You don't fight another guy in front of a woman like that. You know what I'm saying? You just don't. Well, you can, if you want to, you can if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, I'm just saying, hindsight is 2020, and with hindsight being 2020, you never know what could have happened. Yeah, but obviously he heard the tape and he thought that Biggie stuff was decent, not decent, but yeah, you know how it go. Yeah, but let's keep it moving. Let's go. By the way, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
You. I've never harassed you. I've always been a protector of you so far until now. You understand? For you to go and try to snake that whole situation and saying, I'm the reason why you being harassed. No, your ex is the reason why you being harassed. You understand? Your ex is the reason why your son is the way he is. You understand? You know what I'm saying? This is what happened, and I'm gonna let you know. Another YouTuber, one or two, came out and said that Justin is Wolf's father. I mean, Wolf is Justin's father. Another
I mean,
YouTuber came out and said that Wolf is Justin's
it's not
father.
just another
Wolf
YouTube.
is
There's
a
so
former
many other people that
bodyguard
say it.
of Bad Boy that was murdered by an associate with BMF. So now, I never said nothing, yay, nay, or whatever. Me and Puff is beefing. You understand? I'm not gonna come out and play Super Saver or anything. You understand? I ain't got nothing to do with it. I might allude to maybe he is, maybe he ain't. He shoot motherfuckers in the studio. Wolf was that type of dude. So I didn't say nothing. But I know the difference. I know that he wasn't because they had a blood test. They had they did that with that paternity test and shit like that to prove that Justin was his son. Puff was mad the whole 9 yards because he had to pay Misa a large amount of child support, which he was starving her at first. He wasn't doing nothing for his son. That's why Suge Knight took that picture of Misa and Justin when he was hugging Misa, saying what the
time out. Who took that picture though? That is ruthless. Who took that picture? Hey, but anyway, there's no excuses, man. There's no excuses. Let's go.
East Coast won't take care of, the West Coast will. You understand? I told everybody about that whole picture, and then everybody said I was lying and shit, and then somebody released Suge in the same clothes that he took that picture in, playing with Justin on the floor. You understand? So now, Misa is mad at me and upset with me because I didn't clarify that. You understand? It wasn't for me to clarify, Misa. I ain't harassed you not one time. I ain't harassed you when you owe me $750. I let it go. You've been having you've been having the money allegedly to pay me. You know what I'm saying? You got to deal with MCM. You could have sent me a bag. You could have did anything to make it good. But you just said, F it. Now you being harassed by Gene Deal. Gene Deal ain't never harassed you, Misa. I used to save you because you was so afraid that when you was out here giving it up on both sides of the panties trying to feed your kids, that Puff was going to find out. You know what I'm saying? About them down south niggas. About them NOLA niggas. Should I go on? Being harassed? Come on, Misa. You could do better than that. You could do better than that, Misa. You know I ain't harass you. I ain't tell none of your secrets. I ain't say nothing about you.
Secrets? What secrets?
But you want to put it out there and play a victim. It's Puff fault all this shit is happening with Justin. It's Puff fault all this shit is happening with you. You remember, Misa? When he was mad over them NOLA niggas? Y'all know who them NOLA niggas is, them New Orleans niggas. I'm going to leave it at that because I ain't going to put that man business out like that. Oh, baby. Mm-mm-mm.
And when I was looking at this documentary, we already know that Diddy, he took Kim Porter from Albie Shore, but I had no idea that she was working at the front office at Uptown.
Well, first of all, man, they got part of the shit right. You understand? And they was talking about how Kim Porter worked at the front desk. How did Kim Porter, coming from Georgia, get a position like that to work at the front desk of Uptown Records? You understand? First and foremost, you got your man Russell Simmons out here dealing with these young girls. You understand? Kim Porter was one of them. She was then passed from Russell Simmons to Andre Harrell.
Hey, listen. If he's telling the truth, then cool, whatever. But I think if there are transcripts of Kim Porter's book that's available, may it actually really be released, not the one that was done by someone, do you know what I mean, from a Caucasian guy calling himself Jamal T. Millwood. Like, your name ain't Jamal, bruh. like Like, your name ain't Jamal. That's not your name. Like, let's be honest, who you are, represent who you genuinely are. It's okay to be who you are. Do you understand? It's genuinely okay. But yeah, I think that book got pulled because that was on Amazon. Speaking of books, though, listen, the link in the description box below. Sorry, in the comments, the link in the pinned comments is a book called The Psychology of Money. All right, I highly recommend you go read that book, purchase that book. In fact, myself, I will read that book, and I can, you know, what I'm saying, I could tell you, do you know what I mean? Yeah, like more details about the book. But I do know it's a very impactful book. Yeah. So that book ain't gonna get pulled no time soon because it's one of the best sellers. Now, it's one of the best sellers for a reason. Now, I say that to say this. I just hope Kim Porter is able to release her book. Well, I know obviously, or her family for her. Do you know what I mean? Um, because it's mad when I hear about people talk about someone's situation when they're no longer physically alive. It's like, especially when you're talking in this manner. I don't know. It doesn't feel right. It honestly doesn't feel right. But let's keep it moving. Let's go.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm just gonna give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Because these we out here playing, talking all this shit, and be acting like they know what they talking about. She was working for Russell first, then she was passed over to Andre Harrell. You understand? So now Andre Harrell has her in the office and stuff like that. And it was said that it was a girl also in Uptown, and I don't know if it was Kim. I don't know if it was Kim or one of her
It's
friends
always
walked
I
in on
heard.
Andre
What did you
Harrell
see? Like,
getting
what did you see?
a fellatio and was given a red BMW, a red Mercedes-Benz 300C for keeping her mouth closed behind it. You understand? Because when Kirk Burroughs was talking about Puff did, you understand? It actually happened to Andre Harrell up in Uptown Records.
Stop, Jindo.
Kim
You said
Porter's
you
at the
heard.
desk
You
because
said you heard. Kurt Burrows is saying what he saw,
Andre Harrell
what he
is
went through.
doing
Come on, man.
Russell Simmons a favor by giving her a job over there. Because now Russell Simmons is trying to get her friend Kamoya. Because all of them was actress. I mean,
You mean hey, you mean Russell Simmons' ex-wife, which is Kimora. I swear it's Kimora Lee. That hey, come on, man. The way you butcher his name is so funny. He's such a he's oh man, he's so funny, man. Hey, shout out to Gene Doe, man, but still, man, like yeah.
all of them was models. Kim, Kamoya, and they was young girls. So now her and Al get together and everything like that. Check this out. Kim didn't get with Puff until Puff got his deal. Because you got to realize Misa Kim was cool. Kim didn't get with Puff until after Puff got his deal. So all that, he got her from Al and stuff like that, nah. She went with the money was, bro. She went with the money. And you could call it whatever you want to. You understand what I'm saying? That's how it was. You understand? I think Justin could have been about 2 or 3 or something like that when they really made it a thing. It takes me back, brother. I don't know. But I know they was cool. Misa was cool with Kim. You understand? Because Kim was with Al in the whole 9 yards, and Misa was with Puff. Kim went over and snaked Misa with when Puff got a deal, when he finally got that deal with Clyde Davis. And the money came in. So she started messing with him, this, that, and the third, the whole 9 yards. Now, it goes deeper than that. Because Kim turns around and she gets snaked. And nobody said this in the documentary. She gets snaked by Sarah, which is her best friend. It was Tanisha, Sarah, and Kim. Those three girls right there used to always be together. So she done snaked Misa. You understand? Sarah ended up snaking Kim over a $500 bet that Puff had in the office.
All right.
That he was going to take her from some basketball player dude that she was messing with at the time.
Gary Payton.
Gary Payton. You're right. Gary Payton. Now, allegedly, I don't know if Gary was messing with her or whatever like that, but that's what he told, that's what he said. But Sarah goes deeper than that. Sarah was messing with Tupac. She was messing with Corey. And she goes with Puff and have a baby by him. You understand what I'm saying? So all these girls who all are friends get manipulated by Puff, and they at one time was like enemies. They wasn't effing with each other. Then all of a sudden, I guess money had changed that whole shit for you.
What was Puff?
Nah, all right, listen. Oh, man, there's a lot to unpack here, right? But I'm going to try and just narrow it down. By the way, make sure you hit the like button, turn on your post notifications if you haven't already. Shout out to all the returning subscribers. But anyway, let me just break this down for what he just said. So just to recall. So it sounds like to me that he is basically a legend. Again, this is what I'm trying to say. He's a legend. He's not saying what he saw. The only thing that he kind of said that he saw was when Sean Combs made a bet in the office, or in regards to, do you know what I'm saying? And all right, cool, yeah, one could say one got with this person, got with Diddy because of money or whatever the case may be, and one could argue that one snaked their friend or whatever, because that's clearly what it may look like like from the outside looking in. And obviously, technically he's on the inside looking in, but at the same time he's on the outside looking in, because for him it's hearsay. It's literally hearsay. I would just call it exactly what it is. Yeah, this ain't a disrespect to Gene Deal. This is 100% hearsay. Now, I say that to say this. Yes, it looks like snaky behavior, but then you gotta understand the pattern and how Diddy moves, right? If, for example, we know based on the trial, yeah, that, or the first trial, let me just say that the first trial in regards to 2025. Let me put that into perspective, because he obviously had a trial for the 1999 case, yeah. So with that, think about this for a slight moment. When he is dealing with women, or how he dealt with Cassie, he was love bombing her, yeah. Who's to say he wasn't doing the same with Sarah Chapman? Who's to say he wasn't doing the same thing with Kim? Do you understand? Who's to say he wasn't trying to pressure Kim in the first place? Do you see what I'm trying to say? And yes, he was with Albie Shaw, like at first, but who's to say that she didn't end up like this? Is what I'm trying to say. You don't know the thoughts on what people go through to why they are where they are, you don't know. It's like I'm telling you, it's very, 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 very easy to say it's this, it's that when you're not that person. This is why I prefer that person to speak. Do you understand? I would prefer the person to actually speak. So if Sarah Chapman wants to speak, let her speak. Yeah, and whether you want to believe her or not, that's on you. Kim Porter, we can only go by past interviews and whatever the case may be. Do you know what I mean? And if her book does get released, where it's her actual book, then so be it. But anyway, let's keep it moving. Let's go.
Relationship like with Kirk Burrows?
Bruh, Kirk Burrows was the president of Bad Boy. I met Kirk, because I knew Diddy from the same gang. I didn't meet Kirk until Diddy asked me to start letting him call in so I could do security for him or whatever like that. It went like I wouldn't do security unless Puff called me himself. But then he said, yo, let Kirk, because I don't know my schedule, Gene. I don't know what I'm going to do. Let Kirk, you know what I'm saying, call you and let you know what schedule I have if you could do security for me on those days. Now, I told Diddy at the time, yo, man, I don't want nobody to know anything. So if anything happened, you don't know me. All right? I told him that. Just like that. If anything had to go down, you don't know me. And I was saying that in the sense, whereas that if anything had to go down and shit like that, let the people do their own homework. Don't give them my name up and everything like that. Anybody would tell them like that if you are doing security for a dude of that caliber. So now, Kirk Burrows, me and Puff, for some odd reason, after the red zone, because Puff used to do, they didn't talk about this, he used to do the building, Daddy's house, whereas that unsigned rappers, unsigned artists would rap at this place, and it was called the building on Monday nights. Then he would do the red zone on Wednesday. I would have to go with him and make sure that he was all right and take the money to Kirk Burrows' house after the red zone. But I didn't think nothing at the time. At that time, I didn't think
That
nothing of
proves
it, that
again,
he was
Kurt
spending the
Burrows
night
just doing
with
the
Kirk
finance.
Burrows either every Wednesday night. He got a whole girl at home, but he's spending the night with Kirk Burrows. He's staying at Kirk's house. I'm like, yo, all right, cool. Didn't think nothing of it. Didn't think nothing of it. And then Kirk had made a mention to some people over the years that him and Puff used to wake up and pray together. And I'm in my mind, I know he's talking about saying prayers and all that shit like that. But in my other mind, I'm thinking you waking up with a dude praying? Shit is going on.
I don't know.
Then
I don't
there
know.
was
I don't
a
know. Hey, listen.
situation
Think
that
about it.
somebody said long time ago in the office, they caught Kirk giving Puff a fellatio in the office. Now that was the rumor that was going around. How true it is? They was lovers. It came out in his lawsuit. He tried to say
Yeah, come in his lawsuit.
that Puff was, what he said, sexually assaulting him. But if somebody's sexually assaulting you, how you letting them come stay at your house every Wednesday night?
You see, we need to count this. Okay. This is again. By the way, listen. You see, when it comes to what's his name? Yeah, Gene Deal. I understand what he's talking about. Yeah, I completely understand what he means. But forget. Let's just focus on this for a minute. If you've seen that documentary, in fact, even Alexandria Stapleton in an interview with Stephen A. Smith, she was literally saying she wants people to basically to come away with the documentary to make them see or make people be accountable for. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's a man or a woman. Do you know what I mean? Like these are not her words verbatim, but if they're a victim, and it's like you have to understand, you can't just because in this case scenario it's a man, right? Kurt Burrows. All right, cool. We understand what happened in regards to that, right? But then if it's a woman like Cassie, in for example, wouldn't you also say it's the same thing? The difference is just the gender. That's the difference. So I think people need to be very careful with how they interpret stuff, or not just interpret, the way that they understand stuff. They need to, or anyway, let's keep it moving. Let's go.
After the club, I think they were boyfriends, you know. I think, my honest opinion, I think Kirk was in love with Puff to a certain degree.
And
Puff
so
was
was
using him,
Cassie.
and Kirk was giving up the bugina to him.
Oh, come
Anything
on,
Puff
man.
asked him to do, he would
What's
do.
wrong with this guy?
You know, he'd
Bugina.
go at people, he'd talk shit. Kirk would talk shit to you on the behalf of Puff. And I believe that that was his man to a certain degree in his mind. And the way he was saying shit on that documentary, you could feel that they had a relationship. He was hurt behind being Justin's godfather. He allowed Puff to tell him that he was caught up with Misa and everything like that. He believed all this shit. That's what I got out of it. I don't know what you and the other people got out of it. He was saying like he was a scorned lover.
But how did you
I'm about
find
to
out that he
rewatch
gave
it
Diddy
to figure that
fellatio?
out.
Do you know who they came from?
Well, we heard that a long time ago. Like when I was working for Bad Boy. I heard that rumor a long time ago. I was working for Bad Boy that Kirk was caught up giving them a fellatio in the office. And they got
Here
rid
we
of one
go
of the
again.
interns for walking in on him or something like that.
I heard.
You understand? But
What
then
did you see?
Kirk come out in this documentary, in this lawsuit, and say he was giving Puff was making him, giving him fellatios and the bugina. That's in his that's in his lawsuit.
Hey, listen.
But
Seen out of the boondocks.
I guess if Cassie is a scorn lover, Kirk has the right to be a scorn lover too. Right? Both of them worked for him. Both of them was on the payroll, right? So I think Kirk was a scorn. Kirk, he do, and people knew this back in the day, he was 25% of Bad Boy. He did start Bad Boy. He did help grow Bad Boy, the artist, get the money, do all the things that he said as far as the business part of it. Kirk did everything he was supposed to do for the business part of it. But he still was Puff lover. He still was Puff lover. He know that. And he was his employee. I guess you can't have your lover working for you.
Yeah, Kirk Burrows, he also said that, Diddy, he will study, Tupac's I Get Around video.
Well, see, you got to understand that Puff is like a chameleon. He try to feed off what's great and what's good.
Comedian.
And at that time,
that is a leech. That's a leech.
Tupac
how do I mute? I think that's called an incubus. Let me know in the comments below. I was gonna say a leech, but that sounds more like an incubus. Let's go.
Showed greatness of what they wanted the music to go to, because before that, it was gangster rap. You understand? It was NWA. It was Ice Cube. The West Coast was it was Ice-T. They was putting that gangster shit down. Pac brought fun back into hip hop. where it was
Thank you for giving that credit.
smoking blunts, drinking champagne, and fucking with the baddest girls that you could find, driving expensive cars, and dressing in designer clothes. He brought that into hip hop, and Big just took it to a
Facts.
whole nother level with the Coogis and all that stuff, like the way he did it. So they copied that template, and I said this a long time ago. They copied that template, you understand, and made
Tupac said it
Bad
a long
Boy
time ago
what it
too.
was. And he just admitted to the stuff that I said long time ago.
Why do you think he hated Pac so much?
I think that hate stemmed from wanting to be him, idolize a motherfucker. He idolized Tupac because you got to realize when a woman looked at Tupac, they probably wanted him. Puff wasn't getting that type of fever from girls. You understand what I'm saying? Puff had to use his money. Puff had to use his position in order to get women. Now, I seen him with some bad joints, and I used to look at them like this, like, not on no hating shit, but like, you wouldn't be here if he wasn't puffed. If this nigga had no money, you would not be coming out of his room like that. And that's for real, for real. You understand? I'll be like, yo, when I had to, because I most of the time.
I mean, all right, look, do you leave answer the comment section below? Do you think Diddy idolized Tupac? Leave an answer in the comment section below. Do you really believe that? Because I don't. He may all right, put it this way, yeah. I don't know what it is. Obviously, he's obviously trying to emulate someone else's success, yeah. And this is why Tupac said it. It's all about Versace. You copied my style. 5 shots couldn't drop me. I took it and smiled. Do you see what I'm gonna say? And then Tupac in one interview, which we will react to that another day. Do you know what I mean? He literally was letting you know he's the one that helped Biggie. Do you know what I mean? Learn how to perform better. He's the one that literally not just perform better, but he's the one that literally helped him and with so many other stuff. He's the one. And even the ad libs, I can't remember if he mentions it, but even the ad lib that baby baby, that is a Tupac ad lib. In fact, it's a Fog Life ad lib. Do you know what I mean? Even Mo Preem, Tupac's brother, has said it. Do you know what I mean? I think he even said it on the Art Title platform as well. So we'll get to that another day for another time. But let's keep it moving. Make sure you go to the link in the pinned comments. Make sure you purchase your book, The Psychology of Money. Do you know what I mean? Because to me, I feel like this all stems from the psychology of money as well. That's another thing, because money amplifies who you are. Do you understand? So let's keep it moving. Let's go.
I would walk some of them to the door, walk them to get their calves or whatever, or take them down the street and get their calves and everything like that. Now you like, I'd be laughing. I just kept a smile on my face when it came to that shit, because I know for a fact. Because he said it himself. He said, "I don't know how to talk to women. I don't know how to talk to girls." You understand? I said, "You don't have to know how to talk to nobody. You're a millionaire."
See, enabler. See, I got. Oh, that's the other thing I'm going to mention. You see how Gene Deal was talking about how Cassie scorned lover. That means Kurt Burrows is a scorned lover. Safe. All right, cool. If you want to say that, cool, say that. Now, doesn't this make him a disgruntled employee or ex-employee? Do you know some people in the comments? Some people have been saying Gene Deal is a disgruntled ex-employee, and I've been defending this guy. I'm like, no. I ain't defending him no more, because he does sound like a disgruntled ex-employee. Again, the psychology of money. This is what you got to learn. Read that book. Read that book. I'm not even like. Yeah. Anyway, you have to learn the psychology of money, because then it will amplify who you really are. Do you understand? Because anyway, let's just keep it moving.
You got it. So,
oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it does sound like he's an enabler. Yeah, just keep that thought in mind. But let me know your thoughts. Does it sound like he's like Gene Deal's an enabler? Because if you're saying to him, "Oh, it's fine that if you don't know how to talk to women, it's fine." How is that fine? That's not fine. That is not fine. Teach him. I know you're his bodyguard, but teach him then. Show him how to talk to women. Because maybe if you talk, like, because remember, I don't know if he knew at the time of did he grew up with a father or not, and if he didn't know, if he did know at his age, just guide him. Say, listen, this is how you talk to women. Ben, let's keep.
he was jealous of Pac because Pac ain't had to do that. Pac had that aura, you know what I'm saying? And he probably knew how to communicate with women. And most women who he talked to that said stuff said about him. You understand? Like, and we talk about the whole incident of the Quad Studio shit. Like in the documentary, they was talking about that, right? You know what I'm saying? They talked about the Quad Studio shit. But they didn't mention the fact, and they left it out, that Big and C's did not know that Puff and Andre Harrell was in Jimmy Henchman's office the day Pac got killed.
Wait. Jimmy Henchman has an office at Quad Studios. Time out. Jimmy Henchman had a office at Quad Studios. Are you serious? And yeah, you can argue all day long if you want to say Biggie and Little C's never knew. I'm not going to believe that for a second. I don't care.
I mean, the day Pac got shot at Quad Studio. Let me repeat that again so it don't get mixed up in the whole thing. They did not mention that Andre Harrell and Puff Daddy and Jimmy Henchman were all in the office together. Puff was on the office because he was trying to spy on Big them, because Big was writing the Junior Mafia stuff and Puff had his publishing. I told this to a couple of people before. I said it before, and you got people that's running with it like they knew the story in the whole 9 yards. You understand? They'll lie and you ask them, how do you know that? Who told you? They couldn't even tell you that. They'll tell you some lie, they did some kind of investigation, but it didn't happen like that. You understand? Puff was there to spy on Big because he had owned Big Publishing. And Big had turned around, and the same people who helped Puff get Big Publishing told Big to turn and put Tatiana or put somebody else's name on his publishing, or give it to Lil C's or whoever, this, that, and the third that he wrote for, so he can get the money from it. So that's how that went down. So they was there to spy on Big. In the interim of him being there to spy on Big, Jimmy Henchman told them that they finna teach Pac a lesson. Because Pac had owed him some money. So that's why he was up in the studio and was.
This is all hearsay. Listen, I understand what he's talking about in terms of, if Diddy was spying on Biggie, fair enough, cool, whatever. But you also got to bear in mind that he was filming a music video around the corner as well. All right, we also got to bear that in mind, yeah, because he also admitted that what that was one of his alibis or whatever, or not alibi, but that's what he admitted. He was there because he was filming a music video, right? Now, and it was for Biggie as well, ironically. Now, yes, it is confirmed that from Little C that the session was I think it was the first Junior Mafia session, the album session. All right, cool, whatever. Now, as far as Jimmy Henchman, saying that Tupac owed him money for what? What did Tupac owe Jimmy Henchman? Leave your answer in the comment section below. Let's make it make sense. There's a key name that he hasn't mentioned yet in this. Probably he will mention it, but like Little Sean, yeah. When like you gotta remember. So basically, if you think about it logically, yeah, just think about this logically. Let's do this proper timeline. Tupac was going to Quad Studios not because he had a session booked necessarily for himself. He was going to Quad Studios because, yeah, he was going to be featured on an artist video, artist song. That artist in question is Little Sean. Yeah, Little Sean basically had to pay, or his manager had to pay Tupac. Yeah, I think it was in the region of $7,000. Yeah, I can't remember the exact fee, but clearly that's how it goes. Yeah, Tupac wanted to put money in he wanted to help put money in Jimmy Henchman's pocket because he knew he came from the streets. Jimmy Henchman happened to be Little Sean's manager. Look like I don't know about you, yeah, but you see when it comes down to when it comes down to timeline, a lot of people get things misconstrued when they weren't there. All right, cool, I wasn't there myself, but the way Gene Deal always goes on, he always does it from the point of hearsay. This is what I heard. This is what I heard. All right, cool. Say the key names. If Puffy has literally said, I was there to spy on Biggie, to, do you know what I mean, for the publishing or whatever the case is, all right, cool, whatever. But what he's not saying is he was also filming a music video. Now, why Andre Harrell was there, who knows? So when it comes down to Tupac and this whole situation, I think people need to understand timeline. Yeah.
Coming to the studio. Pac owed him some money. He was going to work it off and get some money from doing
He was going to work it off. How does that even make any sense? What did he owe Jimmy Henchman for? The only thing that Tupac not owed money, but what he needed money for was because of his legal situations, because he was going to court here and there, and aside from just going to court like here and there, he couldn't really go to he couldn't perform. Do you understand? So put that into perspective.
a song with Lil Sean. And that's what that was about. But Pac was talking greasy to Jimmy Henchman, and Jimmy Henchman wasn't the type of dude that you talk greasy.
What is his level term of talking greasy? What did he talk greasy to? Greasy? Like, what's he talking? What is Gene Deal talking about? Was he there? But then what is talking greasy? I don't understand. Yes, we know Tupac has, like, can be can speak his mind. Yeah. And he's not afraid of nobody. Do you understand? He's not afraid of nobody. But I'm just thinking, what is talking greasy to Jimmy Henchman? What did he say? Because it's beyond just Jimmy Henchman. There's also Haitian Jack. And then here's the thing: Haitian Jack is also a friend of Jim Henchman, allegedly. Now they're also friends with Puffy as well. So it's like, I don't know, like, what Gene Dill was trying to insinuate and trying to pass blame or whatever the case is. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to throw it off and be like, it wasn't Puffy that did it. It was it was just a coincidence. But I'm sorry, there's no coincidence. There's literally no coincidences. And the way that Puffy's eyes were so shifty, do you understand? When, like, I think with Biggie, he was more or less in a sense where he was more or less innocent, and he was just an innocent bystander. Do you understand? Like, he's an innocent bystander. I genuinely believe he's an innocent bystander. But then it gets to a point where, yes, he was an innocent bystander at that point. But then the release of Who Shot You, that took it to another level. Where it's like, well, you did, you know what I'm saying? But and even before then, Big Tupac was trying to let Biggie know that, raw, you claim to be my friend, you claim to be the king of New York, and you can't tell me who was involved. Like that. Anyway,
Easy to, allegedly, unless you 50 Cent.
So Diddy knew what was going to happen to Pac.
He knew Pac was about to deal well. Yeah, he was there to see it. He was there to see it. He wasn't only there to see Big them. When Jimmy Henchman told him that, he was there to see what's going to happen to Pac. He was there for that. Because had he not been there for that, he would have went up there in the office. He would have went to the studio or the studio session with Big them. He would have went to that studio session with Big them. He knew what room Big them was in. He didn't do that. He was there to see what was going to happen to Pac after Jimmy told him. And that's factual.
Yeah, Kirk Burroughs, he also said that, he feels like, Diddy was behind Pac murder.
Yeah. If Diddy played a part in that stuff, like he said, Kirk know where the money came from. I'm going to say this. They tried
that's
to,
actually deep.
if you talk about the Vegas trip and the whole 9 yards, Kirk said that he paid for people to drive out to Vegas. You know what I'm saying? He said he paid for people to drive out of Vegas. I was heavily with Bad Boy at that time. I don't remember that part of it. You understand? I don't remember that part of it.
How
But if
convenient.
Kirk knew and he was paying for people to drive out to Vegas in the whole 9 yards, it's hard to hide $1 million, brother. You ain't going to cash that in the check cashing place. You signing that over to somebody. I said 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 times again. Eric Von Zip showed me and my man Boondang, aka my man Slick, a check for $1 million. We don't know, and everybody trying to say, lying, talking about half of it got paid, 500. I don't know. I know when I asked him about, we asked him, do we ask? No, we didn't ask him. I know when he showed us a check and he walked away after he showed us the check for the $1 million, you understand? I asked Boone, I said, yo, Boone, when did he get a record label? He said, you know how Zip is. I said, when did he get a Zip record label? Zip had a check for $1 million. He said he got it from Barry Hankerson and Jimmy Henchman for his record label, Black Ground Records. So now, if that's
So how
true,
come that we got to anyway?
we know Jimmy Henchman and Puff was cool. You should be able to trace $1 million if that's the truth. If that's the truth, you should be able to trace that, where it came from. Why did he get it? Is that true that he sold a record label to them? And this was all after Pac's death. So if they really was trying to find out, or instead of looting the shit, do a trace on that $1 million. Because he sure cashed it. And he probably ain't do it in no check cashing place. And everybody trying to say, yo, who's gonna pay that? Yo, it's a lot of shit get paid with checks. It's a lot of shit get paid with checks. It's just where it came from. I still remember we were sitting on 112th Street on the stoop. Zip was showing us a new car he had just bought. He was bragging, pulled out the goes in his right pocket, pulled out the check in the back pocket, showed us to it, like, yo, damn. All right. That's what it was. So if Kirk Burroughs know all that, maybe he can help law enforcement on how, if Diddy had anything to do with breaking that money up or giving that money up to him like that.
You can help law enforcement too.
Or
then.
did he use somebody else? Or did he do something for somebody else to be able to get that money for that? We don't know.
I was just about to say that too. Keefe D, he can use him for the upcoming trial.
Well, Kirk was articulate in always keeping notes and files and things like that. But that money can't just do a trace on $1 million check. Just do a trace on them. I want them to do it. Because that would prove that I saw $1 million check.
That means you also got to testify.
That would prove. Just do a trace on it. The man dead now. What you gonna do? Do a trace on it.
AuberyODay, how you feel about the comments she made about Puffy in a documentary?
Aubrey claims I heard Puff say this in front of a bunch of people in the studio. Me and him got into.
Okay, I heard him say it in front. All right, cool, fair enough. Because I don't want to be a thing where I heard him say it from this person. I heard it from this person. No, if you heard it directly from Diddy, all right, cool, fair enough. Let's go.
To it that night. Me and him got into it that night, and we started snapping and joking and talking shit to each other. When he said about Danny DeCane, he said they gonna keep on messing with me. Or he said the word effing with me. They gonna keep on effing with me, and I'm gonna when you hear people saying this shit, yo, this shit is crazy. This shit is so crazy right now because I heard him say it. But to know that he was doing it, it's a whole nother fucking thing. It's a whole nother fucking light right now, bro. He said it. I'ma drug them out and pimp them out to my necks. They keep fucking with me. And he was.
See, this is what I'm gonna say. Hang on. All right, so basically, he's complicit. Gene Deal's complicit. What do you mean you heard that? I know you his bodyguard. Yeah, but you still knew him from same gang or whatever. Yeah. Now, my thing is, you are complicit because you heard him say it. What was your response? Oh, you thinking he's joking? And hang on. So, like, if you think he's joking, then that's on you. But like at the same time, you should know his behavior or his behavior patterns. And if you should know his behavior patterns, you should know that's what he's potentially going to be doing. All right, fair enough. Hindsight is 2020. You can never know what someone's doing, even if you work for someone or work with someone. I understand that, but I'm sorry. In this particular situation, Gene Deal is complicit. And if he's talking about that he saw the $1 million check, yeah, and I don't explain it. I'm not saying he's also complicit in regards to the Tupac situation. I'm not saying that, but if he's seen that, he needs to go be part of be a witness for the prosecution team in the trial against the trial with Keefe D. Do you understand? So I'm not sorry. Yeah, there's some artists. Sorry, there's some people they want to act like they're the heroes and this, that, and the third when they're enablers. They're not only are they are enablers, they are the ones that are complicit in certain situations. To me, right now, from what he's talking about, he's complicit. The same way that Rick Ross, the rapper, the officer Ricky, you know what I mean? When he mentioned what he mentioned something quite similar. And he got backlash for that. Do you understand? He still needs to get out of here with that nonsense. Yeah? Now, I'm just trying to figure out, yeah, like maybe, just maybe, Gene Dill was a disgruntled ex-employee. But that $1 million check that he said that he saw, yeah, he 100% needs to be working with the Las Vegas Police Department or the whoever's dealing with that case. We'll get into it. He needs to be working with them. Yeah, he needs to be a witness as well. I'm not sorry. You can't tell me you've seen that check and then there's nothing being done with it. I mean, nothing done with that information. He's saying that the money was used for Eric Von Jip brought background music from Barry Hankerson, which is Aaliyah's uncle. That has to be a lie. Do you know what I mean? Well, it doesn't have to be a lie, but I'm pretty sure I've heard this story before. He has, and I had to search it, and no, he wasn't. He didn't buy that. So the question is, okay, where did the money come from? Where is the money now? Eric Von Zip is unfortunately not. Again, maybe he did have the $1 million check and it was for something different, and he brought something. I don't know. Maybe there was a $500,000, a $500,000 check, and that was cashed out for something else because clearly of certain situations. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but what I do know is there's somebody lying, and if Kurt Burrows, yes, he also needs to be part of the team as well or build a witness to the situation, which I believe he will be for the prosecution team, which will make more sense. But anyway, let's take a pause for a minute. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the post notification, leave a comment in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are on so far. But yeah. All right, we are back. Let's keep it moving. Let's go. Let's go. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the post notifications if you haven't already. Make sure you share this. Let's go.
Talk about Danity Kane as a group. He didn't single out any one of them. But to hear that he did it, that shit is crazy to me. We had a big argument and we started talking about each other and what niggas had and what he didn't have. He was calling me, yo, you broke cop. This like, you ain't got nothing I ain't got. I got a watch, you got a watch. I got a ring, you got a ring, I got a chain, I got a home. We went through that whole shit like that. We start talking about his teeth. You understand? I start talking about, him, his breath, everything. We was going at each other. That next day at his house, he said, yo, Gene, he called me upstairs. And he said, yo, Gene, I couldn't talk to him like that no more in front of people and everything like that. Because I know me and Puff go back from the same game since 89, 90 when he got jumped in it. You understand? We go back way to that time. So I knew him. You understand? He was like a little nephew. So when he started talking that shit.
So if he was like a little nephew and he was telling you he doesn't know how to talk to girls or talk to women, then my question now becomes, why didn't you not teach him how to talk to women? Do you understand? Because you have to understand, yeah, for you to say, oh, it's fine, you got money, you're an enabler. Do you know what I mean? You're giving him the wrong advice. You could say, yeah, having money is nice, it's one thing, but this is how you talk to women. Do you understand? Like, show him, guide him. Because if you're saying he was like a nephew, then I don't like. This is what I don't understand. Some people got to take accountability for how they, how they treat. Yeah, how they treat people. Because this is the same thing that people like. When we're saying, I don't want to. There's no excuses, yeah, clearly, but like clearly for someone to be able to do all the things that Diddy has done, do you know what I mean? And that is a, do you know what I mean? What he's been accused of, what he's been convicted of. Clearly, there's people that are in his environment that either that he puts in place or in his environment as a whole that enable his behavior. You know that saying, "Don't play with fire unless you'll get burnt." You will get burnt, or whatever the case is. The same thing. Ben, let's keep it moving.
I say, yo, listen here, bro. You don't say shit about me, I won't say shit about you. If you say something, you open up your mouth about me, I'm going to talk about all your green dentures and all that shit like that. We're not playing them games, bro. You say, all right, Gene, cool. You understand? People don't understand, bro. The love and the power I had, not only in Harlem, Queens, I had dudes all over New York City, from the Bronx, everybody that had mad love for me because I looked out. You understand? I made sure, if people needed knowledge and information on certain things, they had a lot of people that was on
Then why didn't you do that for Diddy?
parole that was in the music business. I used to save guys by letting them know their rights and what the people could and couldn't do to them. So I had a lot of genuine love from a lot of dudes. You don't be around a K. Slay for over 20-something years, a Chance Williams over 20-something years, and be some kind of sucker-ass nigga and was right next to him, doing all their functions, all their situations and everything like that, running security for them, making sure their people were safe in the whole 9 yards. You understand? I had my man Pete, I had people calling me, yo, look out for Nate Dogg when he come to New York. Look out for Mac 10, look out for Exhibit, doing stuff like that, Good Brothers and everything like that. So what I'm trying to say to you is that, bro, is that to be at that type of status and be that type of person and do the things that I did, you understand? I had to have people who were in that lifestyle have mad love for me. You understand?
Did you see the part where she had emails from Puffy?
Yeah. Yeah, bro. And that's the whole thing about it is I heard him say what he was gonna do. Monty, do you understand what I'm saying? I heard him say that he was gonna drug them out and pimp them out to his niggas. And then to hear the text message that she was drugged out and he was having sex, that shit hurts, bro. That shit is fucked up. Do you know how fucked up that is, bro? I heard this nigga say this shit out of his mouth. But to know that he was doing it, that shit was crazy to me. It makes you feel sick, bro, because I guess I wasn't looking for it. But to see her pain and to see that she had to experience some shit like that, bro, and then the nigga was doing a lot of that shit right under your nose when the days that you wasn't working or the days that you left early or you wasn't around, this shit is crazy, bro. It's crazy, bro, because he know I wasn't that type of dude. You understand? And he tries everybody. He tries everybody. I'm not saying he never tried me. He tried me before. You understand? He tried me by having 2 white girls in the bed with him, and she said, "Yo, Gene, this girl want to do you." I said, "I'm good." We was on.
All right, that's one way of trying for someone to try something like cool, whatever. But I think another way he has tried you is simply by making those statements. Do you understand? For someone to make statements like that and then you're joking back and forth, come on, man. Because if you let someone speak long enough, they're gonna expose their true intentions. Do you understand? So I just feel like this is a mad situation because it's like I feel like sometimes I'll say, yeah, Gene Dale is an enabler, blah blah blah, but it's like yes and no. But I'm like, you can put it in the comments below. Is he an enabler? Because if he's saying did he was like a nephew to him around those times, again, I'm pretty sure he tried him at those times, said some things, and he let it linger on, and he let it slide, which can tend to happen when you're around someone. Something they say or do, you're like, I'll let that slide. Do you know what I mean? Or it could be a thing where they look at it and be like, if they do that one more time, then I'll speak up or I'll do something. It's one of them ones. So I don't know how to call it, but it's like he's obviously been around long enough to be able to see Diddy's behavior patterns and Diddy be able to take advantage of the whole situation. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Because if he knew, like, it's mad because it feels like Gene Deal knows a lot or knows of a lot based on what he's hearing and all that stuff there. And it's like, okay, that's nice. But if he knows a lot like that, then what's next? What's the ultimate what's the ultimate what's the ultimate goal here? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? What's the ultimate goal? Because clearly, bear with me for a second, people. Like clearly, he should know that Diddy is just one of those people that I'm not saying you can't. Well, yeah, obviously you can't trust. You can't trust, but like it almost feels like because he knew him that from back then, it almost feels like he enabled the whole situation. Do you understand? He enabled everything. He enabled everything until obviously he left for the first time, then left the second time. He enabled literally everything, everything. But anyway, let's keep it moving.
Tour bus coming. So he tries everybody. You understand? I'm good, bro. You ain't never gonna have me out here coughing. Not me. So it was kind of disturbing to hear that text message from Aubrey, bro. That kind of effed me up, bro. Those text messages that he was sending and that affidavit that the lady wrote that she saw her, you know, in one of the studios being violated.
Mark Curry, he was in a documentary. How you feel about the comments he made about Big Jake? If I'm not mistaken, I think he said that the whole East versus West started over his murder or something like that.
Well, it wasn't no East Coast war, bro.
I agree.
It
No,
wasn't
I
no
agree with
East
that.
Coast war. And I don't believe, and Mark Curry know this for a fact, that Wolf wasn't the gunman who killed Jake. Wolf was not the gunman who killed Jake, and Mark Curry knows that to be true. You understand? And the East Coast War was more like Helena of Troy. When Puff got mad at Suge for being out there and allowing Misa to come out there to make money, however she was doing it, to feed her family, he vowed down that it's like, yo, I ain't never fucking with her again, and I ain't never fucking with him again. Puff and Suge had a conversation behind the House of Blues about was we all right, and Tupac was alive. Tupac wasn't dead. So if it was a war, Suge ain't having no conversation with Puff about we good. I know he could be doing the Hoboken hustle, trying to fool a brother. But had he killed my man or some shit like that, I wouldn't have no conversation with Puff. I'd been like, yo, you know what y'all niggas done? You know what happened? And it wasn't no conversation like that, brother. It wasn't no conversation whereas that, you know, Suge made Puff feel like I'm gonna get you a payback for what happened to Jake. This was more so that Puff, for whatever reason, Suge, for whatever reason he was mad at Puff, and Puff, for whatever reason he was mad at Suge, it was between them two. It wasn't no whole East Coast wanted the West Coast dead, and the West Coast wanted East Coast to dead, because they still was going out, still chilling, still at places with each other. It was Bad Boy, and it was Death Row. It was no East Coast and no West Coast. West Coast dudes were still coming out on the East Coast getting love. East Coast niggas was still going out on the West Coast getting love. It was Bad Boy versus Death Row. And that's what it was, bro. And it was because of the two CEOs. But Suge tried to straighten it out. I got to get at the Suge. The Death Row East Coast, the Death Row East was going to bring in Eric B. It was going to bring in Big D. And those brothers was from the East Coast. So now,
wasn't Craig Max
they was looking for a representative to come to the meeting from Bad Boy so they could straighten out the shit between Pac and Big and Death Row and Bad Boy. And Puff is the one who refused. Puff is the one to refuse to send a representative or either come himself, and got mad at Zip and them because they were in the Mirage on 57th Street partying with Suge Knight.
Bruh, I know that. Oh man, but it's interesting hearing all of this information because it's like raw. Yeah, you can argue and say there was no East Coast versus West Coast. The only reason why it seemed like that is because of the way. Because think about it, it was Vibe magazine. There was another magazine. They're the ones that, and most of the media outlets, they were the ones that were trying to make it seem like it was East Coast versus West Coast. And obviously, it's mad, yeah, because you got to think about a timeline. Around that time, Tupac already had his situation, his discrepancy with Bad Boy Entertainment, especially with Puffy and Biggie. That's one thing, right? Then you have the other situation when you're like, raw. What about the situation with Suge Knight? Well, before Tupac signed to Death Row Records, it's like, raw. This is mad because this person got at the Source Awards. After the Source Awards, a few weeks afterwards, that's when that incident happened, innit? With Jake, that unfortunate situation with Jake. Now, again, the only reason why it seemed like it was East Coast, West Coast, yeah, because Suge Knight mentioned what he mentioned, but I don't know, like it's mad. It's mad. But I look, end of the day, yeah, we have to understand that artists are gonna represent whatever area they're from, regardless. Do you know what I mean? So that could also play a role into it. But man, I don't know anymore, man. I really don't know. But if they was going to squash it and they would have come to the table because of the Death Row East, so I don't know. How does he know this? Did can Kurt Burrows confirm this? That's what I want to know. I want to know, or was Kurt Burrows no longer part of the Bad Boy Entertainment at this particular time? Let me know in the comments below because I would like to know. Because timeline matters and evidence matters. But to squash it, I don't know. I don't know. Biggie was never. I don't think Biggie was ever going to end up in a situation where he's going to squash the beef with Tupac. I don't. I don't think so. I genuinely don't think so. I genuinely don't think so. Tupac may possibly have wanted to at some point, but again, that's a speculation. Who knows? But let's keep it moving. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button.
Got
Let's
mad
go.
at them, and Zip hung up the phone on him behind that.
But what you mean by Mark Curry? You know who killed Big J?
It was some Jamaican dude from the Bronx. He's dead now. The police ended up killing him at Magic City. I don't know his name. But Mark Curry know that's not, it wasn't
you know
Wolf.
it's him.
But when I was looking at the
How you know
documentary,
it's him?
Kirk Burrows, he did confirm that Big, he didn't want to go to LA, and they was actually getting warnings not to go to LA. But did he wanted to go, man.
My man, yeah, we must have had warnings, man. I didn't know. I knew that we shouldn't be out there in the first place, but it's crazy. Check this out. Wolf had already told, Anthony Wolf Jones had already told them, if you're not taking two tour buses of my niggas from the Valley, that's Co-op City in the Bronx, the Valley in the Bronx, if you're not taking these 2 tour buses of my niggas out there, I'm not going. Had told Puff them, had told Kirk Burrows. You understand? I went down there and Kirk Burrows called me up. He's like, yo, Gene, you and Wolf, I got y'all tickets to LA. I said, all right, cool. So I go down there and I pick up the tickets to LA. I got Wolf ticket. I got a Wolf ticket. So I'm calling Wolf up. I say, yo, Wolf, I got your ticket to go to LA. Wolf said, I ain't going. I said, what you mean you ain't going? He said, yo, Gene, I ain't gonna tell you how I'm making I ain't gonna tell you how to make your money, but I'm gonna let you know this. I told Puff them if they wasn't gonna take 2 tour buses of my niggas out there with us, I'm not going. This is Wolf
That's
is the
interesting.
head of all the functions that has to do with Puff dealing with security. I have my own contract with Puff, yeah. Paul Offord ran Green Gate Security, which is the daily operations of Puff stuff. That's his house, his cars, his transportation. He ran the office, the bad boy office, the clothing, all that shit. He ran the daily operation with his security. Wolf is over whatever's happening with Puff. You understand? Wolf tells Puff them and tell Kirksboro and them, no, if y'all not going out there right, nobody should go out there at all. Kirk calls me, I said, yo, Gene, you gonna go? I said, yeah, I go, bro. He said, Gene, I said, yo, dog, but we shouldn't be going out there. I tell Kirk the whole shit. He said, yo, Gene, all y'all gonna be doing is going to the studio and y'all gonna go to Soul Train and go to the studio. Y'all not hanging out, y'all not doing nothing. All me and Puff did when we went there that month was hang out. And I told people all the time, and I said in the documentary before, I thought this kid had a death wish because all we did was hang out. We never saw Big at not one of the events that me and him went to, the House of Blues, movie theaters, the, was it not the California? The Celebrity Club, I guess, is it Celebrities?
He also went on radio as well, right? And he
Begins
dissed
with a
Tupac
C.
as well.
Never
Like
seen
Biggie.
him in none of the clubs, none of the places. You understand? Big ain't coming to none of the places. The one time Big went out is when he got murdered. The one club that he went out to is and that's where he got murdered at. So Wolf did not and was not going anywhere that had to do with California. And it wasn't because of the Jake situation. It was that he wanted to be safe, and the only way he felt safe if he was going out there with the dudes from his clique. And that was the Valley Mob. That's the only way.
And that must mean he must have got some warnings. And if he got the warning, because how do you know if one's going to be safe or not? Like, how do you know? Or is it just an instinctive thing that Wolf felt? I don't know. This is mad.
Wolf ended up losing his life behind Puff and his bullshit. And people they didn't even put that in the documentary. Wolf ended up losing his life behind Puff and his bullshit. And that bullshit was with BMF. That's a big segment in my book that I wrote that whole shit. I wrote a whole big situation in my book regarding that, Mighty. And I know you're doing this. I want to say that right there because I was there the night that Meech had promised Puff, you know what I'm saying? He ain't have to worry about Suge Knight. He ain't have to worry about nobody from this point on. And telling Puff some shit like that made him think that he could talk to Wolf any kind of way. Because if anybody knew BMF was powerful back then, they had dudes from everywhere. And Meech telling him he ain't have to worry about nobody no more, it made Puff think that he could tell Wolf that he didn't need Wolf no more.
Hey, yo.
And one thing led to the next. Go listen to what Salsa said on that interview he said, and he talked about it. And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Kirk
I
Burrows,
wish
he also
50
said in the
never ended that
documentary
show,
that,
man.
Diddy, he used big budget to pay
BMF.
for,
You could have
Big's
seen
funeral.
how that played out.
Yeah, when I heard that, that ain't the first time I heard it though, bro. They said Big had paid for his funeral through his budget. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody would know that, Kirk Burrow would know that. And I heard Wayne Barrows came out and said some shit, but to refute that. You know what I'm saying? But if Miss Wallace got a check and the check, if she got Biggie's, if they had Biggie's budget and that was taken out, money was taken out that budget for his funeral, he did use it. And if anybody knew that, Kirk Burrows would know that because he was handling the money and the operations at that time.
True.
And who is Wayne Barrow? I know he told the Breakfast Club that some of the stuff that, Kirk Burrows was saying was untrue.
Well, Wayne Barrows was one of the dudes, him and Mark Pitts, that actually was managing Big's affairs. You understand? They was his manager.
So yeah, Tisa Tells
Big
right.
had told me that he was gonna get rid of them because they didn't know what they was doing before he died.
Look at that. Yeah, just look at that. You know what that reminds me of? That genuinely reminds me of the situation in regards to Michael Jackson, for example. Yeah, I'm using that as an example. I'm not saying they're the same. I'm just saying it's just an example. He basically got rid of John Brancar and John McClane. Yeah, and I believe I can get into it another day for another subject, but guess who the co-executors on his estate for his estate? John McClane and John Brancar. Now I know they're helping us got the movie, blah blah blah, cool, whatever. But now that his kids are of adult age, give them the estate for them to run. You know what I mean? You can see that the I won't go too deep into it, but let's keep it moving.
I had a conversation with Big. Big said, "Yo, I'm getting rid of them because they the one effing me up
Like I
because
said,
they the one."
Biggie's children should also handle his estate as well. Like, let's make it make sense.
That convinced him to sell his publishing and his marketing to Puff. They was Puff boys. I guess they met in school or whatever like that. But Big was gonna get rid of them.
The boys.
But because he died and his mother didn't know the business, she kept him around for years. If you look at anything that happened with the Notorious Biggs and his camp, you see Wayne Barrows on there as executive producer. And he was just a manager of some of Big affairs. He was executive producers of damn near everything that went on that had to do with. If Miss Wallace was the executive producer, he was the executive producer too. Look at some of the things that was done. And now he's suing, trying to get money from Faith because of, he's saying that she has to pay the Wallace estate and Miss Wallace is dead, Big is dead. If the estate is anything, it's CJ, Tatiana, and Faith. That's the estate.
Exactly, like I
Well,
said.
he's saying there's
That's
some
what it
other
means.
kind of thing that he's suing them for. So Wayne Barrows is the dude that, call it any way you want to, there's been Sherwood Forest and he got big them in Sherwood Forest. I'm gonna put it that way. He got his estate in Sherwood Forest.
Crazy, man. But yeah, Kirk Burrows, he spoke a lot in this documentary, man. He was letting everything go. He also said that, he did take the Rolling Stone cover from Big after Big died.
Bruh,
Rolling Stones admitted that as well.
you have to look at his sociopath, his narcissism, and see that it shows you he really didn't care about Big like he did. What Kirk
Facts.
didn't tell the truth about that whole thing is that even when we was in California, Kirk tried to act like that he didn't know that Puff told him that Big wasn't going to London. I know what the question you asked, but I got to get this out, bro. Is that on Thursday, me and Puff was in a limousine. Kirk Burrows was getting Puff the itinerary of what Big and what's his respecting told him that we was leaving Saturday, this, that, and the third, the whole 9 yards. On Thursday, Puff told Kirk Burrows, Big ain't going nowhere. He
Did say
told
that in
him
the
that
documentary.
Thursday, Big was not going nowhere. He said, I don't care what you do, you could go do whatever you want to do, but Big ain't going nowhere. Kirk Burrows was telling him how he had set up this whole shit and how Arista had paid off all this money for Big to be. Puff was adamant that Big wasn't going nowhere. Now, we were shooting the Hypnotized video. Me and Big was in the Winnebago, and Big was telling me his whole life story. What he wanted to do, his plans, all this shit like that. He even said, yo, Gene, I would take you with me, but you love that nigga too much. Nigga, I don't love nobody like that too much. What's up? He said, yo, what's up with the money? I said, nigga, you broke. You know what I'm saying? You owe Mike Gadget $30,000 for, I'm just going in on Big, and we just talking all kind of shit, smoking Newports. And Big is like, yo, showing me his contracts and all this other shit like that. I'm laughing at him, everything. So, long story short, D-Rock and Puff is out. You hear me?
Hold on. How did he get a hold of it? So Biggie had his contracts then. Really? And you're filming the Hypnotized video? Really? I don't add up to me. I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just saying it doesn't add up. So, like, cause I'm just thinking contracts are like paperwork. It's not like we got technology now where we have a mobile phone device where you can have the contract on either an app or on your emails where you can see it. You know what I mean? It's not like that. Like, you got to remember, this is the 90s. This is the 90s. Technology wasn't like what it is now. Do you understand? So, I mean, yes, some people had technological advantage due to having like their wealth being whatever it is, but come on now. Let's make it make sense.
Me, D-Rock and Puff is gone the whole day, and I'm sitting there with Big the whole day. You understand? That had never happened. Lil C's is on punishment because Lil C's left a bag with pictures that Charlie Baltimore went through and saw nude photos of Big and other chicks in the whole
This
9
I think
yards.
is true. The little Caesar talked about this.
So now, Kirk Burrows get on the documentary and say that Saturday morning he spoke to Puff or whatever morning that him and Big was supposed to be going, and he could have spoke to Puff that morning, whatever like that. He could have, I can't say he didn't, but I can say that he knew that Big was not going to London because Puff told him he bet not put him on a plane. There's no way Kirk gonna
but at
sit up
least
there and
he
say
tried.
that he thought
At
Big
least
was
he
gonna go on
tried.
the plane and go anyway when Puff had told him.
It doesn't matter if Puff told him. At least he tried. If Puff told him on Thursday that he's not going, that Biggie's not going, at least on Friday, so on the Saturday, he tried again. Do you understand? I can't call that. I don't know what to call that, yeah. But personally, at the end of the day, he did what was necessary. And maybe for him to talk like that, it takes a weight off of his soldier. As if I'm not saying he's not just as guilty. I don't know, yeah. But like at least that's a weight off his soldier. Because you know what, people, the guilt. No, and even he should know this. And we will get into his documentary on the whole Biggie situation that happened at night. Like the guilt. Do you understand? If you feel like you should have told someone something and it happened, but you feel like had you told them, that wouldn't have happened. Do you understand? You would feel guilty. You would feel like it's your fault. So maybe Kurt Burrows was just saying it as it did what he needed to do because he's like, right, you know what I'm saying? Let's keep moving. Let's go.
He bet he could go, but Big bet not go. And you know what happened to Big after that. So all that shit was planned, bro. And Kirk Burrows knew about it. So
Can't say Kurt Burrows knew it was planned like that.
he could have did something, bro. He could have let somebody know. And he didn't. And that's because
No. Oh my days. See, Gene, I know you have a disdain towards Kurt, which kind of happened because of the documentary situation now, right? Not just having disdain towards Alexandria Stapleton and stuff like that, but you have a disdain because you wanted to have a package deal. And now it feels like you're shifting the blame on Kurt Burrows as well, which I think is unfair. I genuinely think is unfair. Like, because look, it's like, yeah, you could say who else is he supposed to tell? If he's the co-founder of the organization, who else is he going to tell? Think about it. Or what he's going to tell Puffy, who also is the co-founder, who has the majority of the shares, and by then I think his shares was taken anyway. By then, and he was still working with Bad Boy Entertainment because he thought that he's going to get his shares back anyway. You have to think. I'm not. No. You can't do that. You can't do that. No, you can't. I'm sorry. You can't do that. Gene Dill, you're too mature as an adult to be thinking like this. To me, this is immaturity. And who's to say that he didn't tell anyone else? He may not have mentioned it in the documentary, but who's to say he didn't? Because there's probably evidence out there that he probably did. And even if he didn't, what else is he supposed to do? Do you know what I mean? Because it could have been any other situation. It's the same thing of the song being Who Shot You. It's like he didn't want to release it, if I remember correctly. But guess what happened? He had to release it because Puffy wanted that idea. And it worked. It might as bad man as it was. Do you know what I mean? The timing and all that stuff there, it worked. But there were consequences, and the consequences was obviously Tupac was going to retaliate with his disses, and obviously the main diss being Hit 'Em Up. And do you see what I'm trying to say? But let's keep it moving.
it was him and Puff relationship. You know what? Like, it's a lot of stuff that this documentary could have got in depth with. You understand? They may have had some other footage, even with the dude. They spoke with the dude Williams, whose sister was one of the girls that was pregnant and died at City College. You know what I'm saying? He was one of the Muslim brothers that I found out later why the Muslims was after Puff at Soul Train. You understand? Everybody think that he had owed them some money and stuff like that, but the dude was the cousin of one of the girl who got killed at City College.
Damn.
And he had promised that he was going to do a monument,
It
or he was
wasn't an
going to
Nation
do
of Islam
some
like
kind of supportive stuff for the City College tragedy people that he never did. And he was arguing with Puff, and that's when Mustafa had came in and tried to stop this whole situation. So
Thank you. Because the documentary, don't know, it felt like they were trying to say Mustafa had got into the dispute with Puffy, and I'm thinking that doesn't make any sense. You mean the same Mustafa Farrakhan, whose father is the minister or the honorable minister Louis Farrakhan? Let's make this make sense. The guy that likes to diffuse situations, even though it can be problematic himself in certain situations, depending on the perspective and lens point you're looking at. But we're not here for that agenda, or whatever the case is what it is. So it's like,
it's a lot of things that they left out that they could have put in that would have been real pertinent to show how this dude, everything and all the people around he had used and did wrong and never.
Everything they say, they said that. Everything they said, they said. What's that phrase that Kanan played by 50 Cent, where he says, "If they say he did that shit, he guilty as fuck. He did that shit." Something like that. Anyway,
And all the shit that he promised, he never made good on none of it to nobody but himself. And now, look at him. He got a crust of bread and a corner to sleep in.
You seen the part about Puffy dad in the documentary?
Yeah, I seen that part about his dad. Man, listen here. Everybody trying to portray that Puff father was this big gangster. Puff father was a ladies' man. You understand what I'm saying? And this is told to me about gangsters who ran out there during this time.
this was
Puff
told
father
to me
was a
by
ladies'
gentlemen.
man. You
Okay, here we
understand?
go.
He was doing a little drug dealing, but he wasn't that big time drug dealer that he trying to portray that his father was. My man, Freddie Myers called for a meeting with me and Omar. He was trying to do, he was trying to get in.
Right, when he said Omar, I literally thought of Omar from The Wire. Omar's coming. Hey, listen. Hey, The Wire was the ish, though. Hey, listen. Hey, man. Rest in peace, Michael K. Williams, for real, for real. The way he played that role, cold. Anyway, well, hey, let's keep it moving.
Touch with Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons didn't have nothing, want to have nothing to do. He told me Russell Simmons used to go pick up his laundry and his cleaning for him and everything because he was the one who started the record labels. You know, he was starting a record label and Russell Simmons was working for his record label before he started Def Jam.
Right, I didn't know that. Raw.
This is coming from Freddie Myers. He said, I wanted to get into Puff to tell him the true story about his father. Right? You understand? His father, I guess he was being tested. I don't know what the situation was, but Freddie Myers told me he sold drugs to one of the undercovers that worked for them.
Damn.
They gave that undercover New York City police officer $10,000 for the tape. and to see the handwritten statement that Puff father made against their crew.
Damn.
This is what Freddie Myers is saying to me, a real gangster that did all this time. So now, Freddie Myers said that he told the dude who brought Puff into their clique, he had to get rid of him. Now, every gangster in Harlem who was getting money back in that day wasn't none of them cab drivers. Puff father was a cab driver.
For real?
He was a cab driver. Was he trying to use that in a situation where he was going, dropping off, selling his drugs? I don't know. But he was a cab driver. Well, that's a facade that he was using, something that he was using to try to fool people. I don't know. Freddie Myers didn't get into that. But what he did say was he told the guy that he had to get rid of Puff father. And he said the nigga who killed Puff father was the one that was carrying the casket, crying the hardest at the funeral.
Damn. Meanwhile,
So when
you have someone like Puffy literally dancing. Well, not say literally, but he was dancing at the tribute at that what event was that? But basically, he was dancing. He was wearing all white and stuff like that, and he's still dancing. Are you coming in dancing like that? You clearly was not grieving. And I've seen the headline or something that says Janet Jackson thinks Diddy faked his grief over Biggie's. You know what I'm saying? I swear that's the headline, and I've got to watch it. I won't be able to react to it here today. You know what I mean? I'm gonna watch it, and possibly I will add it to my reactions to react to tomorrow. But aside from that, let's keep it moving. Oh yeah.
try to say that he was the son of a hustler. Okay. He and from what Tim Dog was saying about his mother and everything like that, his father was more so like a pimp
Yeah,
than he was a drug dealer.
that will kind of make more.
Puff father was murdered for trying to tell on Freddie Myers and their crew.
Damn.
He had wrote a handwritten statement. He did a handwritten statement and a tape and a tape statement, and the police sold it to the Freddie Myers and them for $10,000.
That's mad.
So he actually told you seen that part where Little Rod, he said that he will wake up sore.
When I heard
Stop that.
Lil Rod say that there was night that he woke up sore and he didn't want to talk about certain things, I knew he had been abused. My man, it had to be crazy. It was, let me just say something to you, bruh. For that young man to feel that way, for that young man to have to go through those experiences, Puff need his motherfucking ass whooped, bruh.
Oh, so when it's someone else and not Kurt Burrows, isn't? Do you see the difference? Anyway,
for real. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe because he's
I don't believe in no way before he met Puff that Lil Rob was gay or had those type of experience. I may be wrong. But for him to be talking like that on tape and hurting like that on the inside, because he could never. I know people gonna get mad at me, but this nigga gave up his manhood. You understand? Whether he's on drugs or not. You know what I'm saying? And it's got to be tearing him up on the inside, bro. Especially if he didn't want to.
The question becomes:
I feel for that boy. I feel
when did it
for
start?
that dude Q from day 26.
Yeah, it's the same.
Because it sounds like he may have the same experience or something like that. I feel for those kids, man, that had to go through those experiences with this this demonic sociopath that think he ain't did nothing wrong. And for the people out there that still want to rock with him, f y'all all and feed y'all beans, man. Cause y'all just as worse as he is.
Fact.
Y'all want to give him a pass.
Yeah, Marlon Wayans.
Y'all want to give him a pass when he
Yeah,
did all this
Jarl.
crazy shit to people's lives.
Crazy, man. Unfortunate, man. Gene Deal, man. Great interview, man. Very insightful. I can't wait for the people to see it, man.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, send a message out to 50 for me. Yo, 5th, I want half. I need half, 50.
I don't know what he needs half of, but hey, if there's a part 2, he needs to be in part 2. If there's a part 2, he needs to be in part 2. You understand? Listen here, bruh. I have been waiting for this full interview, and he did not disappoint, irrespective if most of what he says is I heard from but in all seriousness, I hope if there is a season 2 of The Reckoning, Gene Deal should be in it, irrespective if he gets paid. No, should be in it. As no one got paid in this one. You know, no one got paid in this one. All right. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Like I said, I recommend that you go to the link in the description, in the pinned comments, yeah, which will be available after the live stream. But basically, what I need you to do is purchase the book. The book is called The Psychology of Money, because that's what it just comes down to. The reason why he didn't basically, why he wasn't in season 1 of The Reckoning. Yeah, Sean comes to Reckoning. Clearly, that's the reason. The reason why he stayed in the situation regarding, you know what I mean? Even with the situation where he talks about how Diddy didn't know how to deal with women, he didn't have to speak with women, but he's got money. Again, the psychology of money. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Oh, by the way, I have to mention a disclaimer. Yes, I do get paid from Amazon for you know what I mean? I get small commission. It is what it is. Got bills to pay. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, like, leave a comment in the comments below. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, and also most importantly, share. You do all of that stuff. It helps with the algorithms. You get me? It is what it is. We gotta put out the truth out there. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, yeah.